This is the second video in the subsection of obscurity. The first video had a look at blocking visibility, and this video is having a look at narrow vision. So what is meant by narrow vision is any obstacle that would reduce the vision of a driver. In this case, we have a wall over here, and so from the driver's perspective, you can see his angle is very narrow in either direction. Now what happens is that as the driver gets closer to the intersection, obviously that angle widens, but nonetheless still too narrow, so that by the time he arrives at the intersection, if either vehicle is traveling at speed, it's going to be too late and they will collide. Let's have a look at the animation. Real life clip. So here we have a massive wall. Drivers coming from either side at speed, so their view is obviously limited. They cannot see each other. By the time they can, it's going to be far too late, and the obvious collision would take place. So we want to make sure that if our vision is narrowed in a scenario such as this, that we obviously approach the intersection at a much slower speed and with a lot more caution. You can see there was no ways they could take any corrective action to avoid each other. So don't be oblivious to the fact that your vision is narrowed. Second real life clip, same scene again. You can see the owner of the house is still in the process of rebuilding his wall, and you guessed it, this is what happens. So in the previous videos, there was a wall that served as an obstruction. In this case, we've got buildings very close to the intersection and likewise narrowing the vision of any drivers coming from either angle along this intersection. But notice the drivers are oblivious of the impending danger and threat, and so they approach the intersection at far too high a speed for this particular area. Another situation where our vision could be narrowed, a vehicle, a larger vehicle, in this case a truck, or it could be a bus that's parked on the side of the road close to the intersection, and this would obviously reduce our visibility. So be careful of this taking place. Real life clip to demonstrate this. We have trucks on the corner fairly close to the intersection, and like the animation, the visibility is narrowed and reduced, and so poses a threat. In this case, it's ice that's piled up on the side of the road to a fair height, and because of that, that reduces the visibility, narrows the vision of drivers approaching the intersection. Similarly, we have this obstacle in the form of a fence that blocks out the visibility of any drivers approaching from that side and vice versa coming down this end. In this case, it's vegetation that's close to the corner that would block the visibility. And then in our last clip, the narrowing of the vision comes from this sharp blind rise. So just on the other end of the blind rise is an intersection, and if one's traveling at too high a speed, then one arrives at that intersection, leaving any vehicles wanting to cross that intersection very little time to be able to respond, because they, from their side, cannot see over the blind rise. And so when we get to a blind rise, make sure that we travel slower, because we're not sure possibly of what's on the other side, And if it's an area that we do travel in frequently, then we know and are aware of where the danger can lie. please like, subscribe, and get notified.